Hey, what up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you today. It seems that I've been listening to a few of the wrestling news podcasts, and a lot of them are going over what they think the main event of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view can be, and a lot of them are basically saying that Brock Lesnar won't be wrestling in the main event of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. That more than likely we're going to get some sort of a three-way match between Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena. And I know that once you break this down, you can really see that both of these guys want to kill Seth Rollins, and neither of them really like each other. I honestly think that this isn't the right time in order to have some sort of a three-way match, even if you do involve the Hell in a Cell. Basically, you have two feuds involved in here, but they don't need to be combined. Seth Rollins versus John Cena can wait for another day. I think that everybody in the world wants to see what happens between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We need to see a finish to this this feud, and I know that a whole bunch of people are saying that, someday the Shield's going to get together, but we've seen, people, rip each other from limb to limb, and then, find out, 6 months later when they need to become friends again, they've been able to do this. So, one of the biggest rivalries of all time was Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and they killed each other from 2002 through 2005, and then once they both, reunited when Triple H called Shawn Michaels up to come help him fight off the McMahons, they were all friends again for the last of their career, except for that, Survivor Series match, where it was them two against John Cena in the main event. I really think that, if you try to put Cena with Dean Ambrose to make, everybody sort of, not hate him as much, I really don't think that's really going to work. I think that a whole bunch of people, saw through it when they did the Raw in Seattle, where basically everybody was booing John Cena, and then out of the middle of nowhere, he granted Daniel Bryan the #1 contendership, so that way the fans of Seattle would start cheering for John Cena for being a noble guy, for stepping up and noticing that Daniel Bryan needs a title shot, that he hasn't got his rematch, since losing at Survivor Series. No, it wouldn't have been Survivor Series. I can't picture when I can't remember when the last time Daniel Bryan fought Randy Orton before they moved on, and ended up being, everybody thought, well, he's not going to fight for it at Night of Champions because they're doing they're not going to fight at TLC because, they're doing the unification match, but definitely he'll win the Rumble, and then it'll go on to, he'll do that in main event WrestleMania, which didn't happen either, with him not even getting a number spot. But I want to see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins finally have a match where they can't run away from each other. I know that your people are saying that, Brock Lesnar won't work it because he's already worked the last few shows in a row now with SummerSlam and Night of Champions, but if I'm a WWE, you belly up to the table and you pay Brock whatever you have to pay him in order to get him in. He's wrestled in the Hell in a Cell before. He had the match with Undertaker. I know this was years ago, but these matches that he's had with Cena are all very, very physical matches. Even going back to the first match they ever had at Backlash. That would be 2003, maybe 2004, whatever year that was. The first time you saw these guys, it's a real physical style, and to be able to see Cena and Brock Lesnar go at it in a Hell in a Cell is just going to just go through the roof. There's no way in the world I'm not going to miss that match. I'm not going to fly to Dallas in order to see it, but I'm going to be definitely making sure that I'm not going to be sitting at work like I did for Night of Champions, then going home and watching. I got to see that match live. I got to see it, as it happens. I don't want to, have a feeling of knowing what's going to happen before I actually get to see it. That's one to go for. And Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, which I don't think is like the main event of a show these days. I think that, these guys will get to the point where they are main eventers. Definitely that would be a match that people would set aside to make sure they want to see this. Everybody was invested in the Shield, whether if you hated these guys or whether you liked these guys. When Seth Rollins turned on them, everyone in the world took notice, and it's been months now, and Dean Ambrose hasn't been able to really get his hands on Seth Rollins, and he's been on the run, and how else to keep those guys in the same thing together? I'm not a fan of seeing the three-way. I understand why they're doing it. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. It's just, there's two great matches WWE has that both of them want us to see, and combining them doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I want to see singles matches. Single matches always sell better. I understand that Hell in the Cell is a pay-per-view that people don't go bananas for, but if it was just sort of a sporadic Hell in the Cell match that we really wanted to see, much like WrestleMania 28, people would love that. And the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, ever since it was birthed in 2010 with Kane and Taker, and then you had the three-way with who was in there? Cena, Punk, and Del Rio. None of these have really, been what they thought it was going to be. You had Ryback versus Punk, and last year, you had Cena and Del Rio, and that was a championship match, and they didn't even put it in the cell because they knew that was going to suck. But I don't know. I understand that they're going to go in that direction, but for me, I want to see singles matches. I tell Brock, I'll pay you double to work this show because that's how much money we're going to make off this. It's going to be huge. It's going to be memorable. Brock versus Cena in the cell. That's what I want to see.